You're now tuned in to the Brown Spade. Okay, family. So today, this reaction video, before I begin, I'm going to say that there's no one should be sexually abused in any type of fashion. I do not condone it. I do not support it in any form or fashion. So I'm saying that, making that disclaimer before I begin to put my 2 cents on what's going on. So in case you haven't heard, what name has been rising lately is P. Diddy, Sean Puffy Combs. He's been, he's settled. He made a settlement, and his name has been buzzing lately in the media when it comes to sexual assault. And so he settled with the young R&B artist by the name of Cassie. And so that is no more. But there has been other allegations surfacing with other guys. And finally, ABC put out the other names, because the only 2 names that's been ringing in the black neighborhood has been Puff Daddy and the other guy, Jamie Foxx, who we all know and love. But if you don't know, that there has been a law that was put out and it expired just a few days ago, and you had to submit your claim before this law expired. Now, granted, there are a lot of people. I understand the purpose of this law. This law was to try to help people who have been on the opposing end of these assaults can bring justice to the forefront, whether it's at your workplace, in correction facilities, in hospitals, etc., etc. So I understand that, because the small man doesn't have a voice, or the small woman, in most of these cases, doesn't have a voice. But I also would say this as well. I think they need to make a law that if someone make false accusations, they should be pushed to the fullest extent of the law. I don't think that a person should make a false accusation, such as a sexual assault, and just tarnish a man. And when they find out he's innocent, you know, his image is still damaged for the rest of his life, and most young ladies can walk away free. So I don't agree with that. But for those who are the predators, you deserve whatever the law gives you. I will say that in the same breath. But they definitely need to make a balance so there won't be false claims. It reduces the false claim. It reduces, because there are some men, and I don't know the percentage, but I'm quite sure there are some men that are behind bars because of false allegations. One historical that stands out the most is the one with Emmett Till. Emmett Till was accused of whistling at a white woman. And even years later, right before her death, the lady, she admitted that it was all a lie. It was all fabricated. So that's just an example, and that's just a historical example. But there are men that are behind bars on false accusations. There are athletes who have lost their jobs, their positions, because of false accusations. So I think that they need to have a law for the ones who put out false claims. But I support anybody that been abused on either side, either gender, male or female. You deserve justice. You deserve to be heard. And the law should support you to the fullest extent. So I'm about to go for a run. If you haven't, please press that like button. I would I would appreciate it. I would be gladly appreciative if you just press that like button. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And I hope you enjoyed this video. It was very informative to me because other names have surfaced, because it seems like they always put us in the forefront of these type of allegations, the Bill Cosbys, now the P. Diddy's, and now Jamie Foxx. But there were some white guys that was caught in this allegation as well. So let me say that first and foremost as well. And let me say it again, please subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, please hit that like button. This video was very informative to me. I hope you enjoy this video.
It was a stunning lawsuit against hip-hop icon Sean Diddy Combs, triggering headlines earlier this month.
Now to the allegations against Sean Diddy Combs. The rapper and music mogul is accused of sexual assault.
His former girlfriend, R&B singer Cassie, demanding $30 million over allegations of rape, abuse, even sex trafficking.
When the headlines came out about Diddy, just the amount of information and detail and allegations were jaw-dropping, to say the least.
Cassie, Sean on the right. Sean, a quick solo.
But it was just one of an avalanche of lawsuits, many hitting high-profile men, thanks to New York State's groundbreaking sexual assault statute. Combs settling out of court the very next day, his legal team later saying in a statement to ABC News, Mr. Combs' decision to settle the lawsuit does not in any way undermine his flat-out denial of the claims. He is happy they got to a mutual settlement and wishes Ms. Ventura the best.
This is not an admission of guilt. This could just be the cost of doing business, that he wants to settle and move on even though these allegations are false or they're true. And he doesn't want to go through the discovery process, and so it's better to settle and move on than to go through the loss, not only financially, but also in the court of public opinion.
And as the deadline for New York's adult survivors law was set to expire, two other women suing Combs. Others suing actor Jamie Foxx, Guns N' Roses frontman Axl Rose, former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, and current New York City Mayor Eric Adams, all accused of sexual abuse from incidents years prior.
It's absolutely not true. You know, I would never do anything to harm anyone.
All the men denying the allegations against them in statements. Those new claims of old offenses only made possible by the New York Adult Survivors Act, signed by Governor Kathy Hochul last year, which expired at midnight, November 23rd, Thanksgiving.
What Governor Hochul in New York State did was say, you know what? Just for a year, this will be the middle ground, so to speak, to allow these claims to come forward, but not open the barn door, so to speak, to allow all claims to come in forever.
The Adult Survivors Act opened a one-year window for victims of sexual abuse to file lawsuits in civil court against their abusers, regardless of when the alleged crimes took place.
Survivors have 1 year to take action.
It doesn't matter if it was your coach,
Your cab driver, your doctor.
But the law had further reach, bringing forth thousands of claims of abuse, exposing systemic malaise across society, from spas to airports to hospitals, even prisons.
There are many people who were afraid to bring sexual harassment claims against their harassers because of the power dynamic that existed.
Civil rights attorney Ben Crump's legal team claiming it made more than 1,700 filings against New York prisons.
It is such an ordeal for them to finally come forward because they are so distrustful of the system. They think that they have no voice, they have no power.
Crump represents Mia Wheeler, one of those alleged victims. I spoke with her last year.
It is hard to make a positive turnaround when you are being subject to sexual abuse. It plays on your mental, it takes your focus off of everything.
Wheeler says she was in her 20s when she was sexually assaulted repeatedly by a prison guard in New York's Bedford Hills Correctional Facility.
When he would walk past my cube, if nobody was there and it was a mealtime, he would come in and peek in and say, hey, you know what time it is.
What did he mean by that?
That it was time to have sex or time for me to perform a sex act on him.
Tell me about how this affected you.
Physically repulsed and turned off, but during the acts, just having to tune out. I just wanted it to be over. The only thing I knew is that as long as I come home, I can bury it. Get out of prison, get off of parole, and go on with your life. That's it.
Now, almost 20 years after leaving prison, Wheeler is waiting to have her day in court. Wheeler is among at least 900 formerly incarcerated people who came forward, saying they were allegedly sexually abused in state prisons.
See, you never really know the anger that can build up. The feeling of not being in control, the feeling of feeling less than, holding a dark secret and not being able to tell anybody. It's ruined my life.
U.S. federal law and nearly all states, including New York, criminalize any sexual relations between staff and inmates. In a statement to ABC News, the New York Department of Corrections and Community Supervision refused to comment on possible or pending litigation, but said in part, DOCS has zero tolerance for sexual abuse, sexual harassment, and unauthorized relationships. The department thoroughly investigates all reports of sexual victimization, including unauthorized relationships and retaliation against individuals who report incidents or cooperate with those investigations. Wheeler is asking for $20 million in damages for the pain and suffering, injuries, and expenses she sustained as a result of the alleged abuses. New York State requires a monetary claim for all damages. But beyond financial compensation, Wheeler says that sharing her story has been part of her path to healing.
I could not continue to be an incomplete woman, a broken person, a hurt soul, because hurt people hurt people.
At least 3,700 lawsuits were filed in the year the New York Adult Survivors Act was active. There are calls for the law to be extended or made permanent, but that requires new legislation from the state chamber.
Hopefully, this law has taught society a lesson. Anytime we can give victims a voice, it is a good thing for society. But we feel that there are thousands that were left behind.